Mental MMA.
Welcome to our first episode of Warriors of the Past. This is a show where I'm going to feature the best fighters in MMA history that fans have either forgotten about or don't get quite the recognition they still deserve, or maybe new fans have never even heard of them. Either way, I had a poll that's on my website for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I had a choice of 6 fighters that you could vote on, and I got to say 100% of the votes came in for one fighter. The choices I had on there were Evan Tanner, Carlos Newton, Don Frye, Kazushi Sakuraba, Keith Hackney, and Karo Parisian. And those are the 6 fighters that I plan on doing my first episodes about. However, I had a poll where you could vote on whoever you wanted me to do my first episode on. Every single vote I got was for this one person, and it is Don the Predator Frye. And rightfully so. This guy, he was one of the main reasons why I stayed in mixed martial arts once I became a fan from the early UFC days. Once he came in 96, 97, I think, he actually won UFC 8. So if you look up the UFC 8 pay-per-view, he won the tournament. 3 fights in one night. He won. But yeah, he went to do pro wrestling for a while. He came back around 2000, 2001, and he started fighting in Pride, and that's where his legend started to build. I'm talking his resume back. I remember the Takayama fight was, man, okay, you know about that one. I'll be showing some footage of that. The Gary Goodridge fights, which happened a little earlier on. But the Ken Shamrock fight. Akabono. I mean, the guy, he was a complete warrior. You're going to find out all this stuff here. It's a lot to remember. There's some of the things I want to say, but I want to make sure my facts are right. So I'm going to look in front of me here, and you can do the same thing if you ever want to. But he is from Arizona, Sierra Vista, and everybody kind of knew that back then. I actually had a client back in 2005. I used to train, and I remember she was from Sierra Vista, but this was in Phoenix at the time. And I asked her, I said, "What, do you know who Don Frye is, the fighter?" And she goes, "No, I don't know any fighters Don Frye." She goes, "I knew a Don Frye when I was in school," and she was about his age, so I forgot to tell you that. But she goes, "Yeah, he ran track. He was a track runner." I'm like thinking, man, that doesn't sound like the Don Frye I've learned about and I've watched fight, but apparently he was this crazy athlete back then. He did wrestling. He wrestled at ASU under Dan Severn was one of his coaches, the Beast. That's probably how I got into it. I think sometime around 1989, Don Frye had a boxing match and won knockout. But this guy has done everything. He's got like a second or third degree black belt in judo. The guy is a complete mixed martial artist, and he was one of the first of his kind when he came out. And he would stand toe-to-toe with anyone. This guy's a warrior, man. A real warrior of the past. Don Frye. You're watching footage of him right now. Some of these fights, I'm just going to let them go, and you're going to see some of these right here. But I want you to get a look at his record here, some of the guys he fought. And this is back when, no one really knew what to expect when they were doing these, UFC fights. But just the list just goes on, man. This guy was crazy. But anyway, Don Frye is my first warrior of the past, and his resume is incredible. If you just look at what he's done, and when I say resume, I don't mean like win-loss record. I mean his resume of combat sports in general. And it's just one guy that you definitely don't want to mess with if you're in his prime. There are a lot of comments online, kind of like the Chuck Norris jokes, but they're Don Frye jokes. And here's some of them right here. Some of these are screenshotted. Testosterone once tested positive for Don Frye. And then there's another one. Don, why don't you block punches? That's what the mustache is for. Another one is Don Frye, the type of guy who goes to a feminist rally and leaves with an iron shirt. Of course, we've kind of everybody's seen that one with different fighters. And then here's some more. One of the manliest GD men ever. His voice sounds like whiskey-soaked thunder that lights cigars. Here's another one. Before Chuck Norris goes to sleep, he checks under the bed for Don Frye. Don Frye was one of the toughest mofo in the sport, hands down. Legend in the sport. That's real talk right there. Anyway, Don Frye, our legend of the past, warrior of the past. I remember back in 2000, 2001, he was promoting a Pride fight here in Phoenix, and he and Ken Shamrock both were at like a Best Buy promoting a fight and signing DVDs for the Pride organization. And my brother got to meet him, and then he got it signed. He was the team captain in the IFL, the Tucson team that they had in the International Fight League. I could just go on. The guy's done acting, he's done voice acting, he's just done everything, man. It's incredible to see this guy, the kind of fighting he did, and the way he fought, and he had all these different skills. Like I said, he was one of the first complete mixed martial artists at his time, Not saying he was the first, but he was one of them. He's definitely a pioneer, and his toughness is unmatched. I mean, you listen to interviews of guys who fought him, and they will tell you about Don Frye. But anyway, he's our first warrior of the past, Don Frye, from right here in Arizona. So tell me in the comment section below who you think my next episode should be on. Evan Tanner, Carlos Newton, Kazushi Sakuraba, Carl Parisian, or Keith Hackney. So anyway, that's it for today. And remember, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I do MMA videos, nothing but MMA videos that this whole channel is all about. And I will be here for UFC 248, Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero, Joanna Champion, Weili Zhang, all the great fights on that card. I will be here doing this live streaming, the play-by-play pay-per-view right here as I'm watching it. I will call everything play-by-play live as it happens in case you're not able to rent it or you can't get somewhere to watch it. I can visualize this whole card for you, the whole main card. And I will be reporting from UFC 248 in Las Vegas from open workouts. And then also this coming Saturday in Norfolk fight night, I might be doing the main event between Joseph Benavidez and Figueiredo for the title. That's a 125 title shot for the vacant title that Henry Cejudo let go because he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. So stick with me here. Please subscribe. Leave your comments down there for who you think the legend of the past should be for warrior of the past for my next episode. And that's it.
There's nothing that I cannot do. Don Frye, he is the last of a dying breed.
I figured I could make a few bucks while kicking some ass. It's the purest sport there is. Two-time UFC champion.
Mental MMA.